Holy is the ultimate gamer. He's earned that name.
Holy One.
A great guy, and his videos are fantastic.
What's to do, YouTube? It's Holy One, and we're going to be exposing the Omni console peasant, aka IronCladRookie, who I will display right here. Now, as you guys can see, this guy is the Omni peasant of all Omni peasants, and I say that is because he truly believes that his slogan is 30 frames per second is not very playable, 20 is good, but it's still not playable, 15 is the most playable frame rate. This guy is a console fanboy to the weakest console that brings you the worst performance in games. So first, he will literally go out and buy. He was bragging about buying Overwatch on PS4 because its frame rate was lower than the Xbox One version. So if an Xbox, it's not about resolution or anything like that. If the Xbox One version is, let's say has better frame rate but lower resolution, he will get the PS4 version that runs at a lower frame rate. And he literally got into PC gaming on a laptop. No different than Jack Move. So, let's start with what makes him the Omni console peasant. So, what makes him the Omni console peasant, as I said, he started off this generation bragging about how he was a multi-console owner. He was neutral. He didn't have a favorable console. You know, the usual lying just to, you know, prove a point he has, which made no sense. His one-liner was, as long as a game gives me 15 frames per second, I'll be good. Heck, I played games back at 5 frames per second until we knew about frame rates. Like, what?
What the
Like, it literally makes no sense at all. It's so dumb. It's so bad. So, that's his slogan. So he's pretty much been riding on the PS4 and Xbox One for his multiplats, and he only got into PC for the, I guess, indie exclusives like Torchlight or whatever. And he literally said, oh, PC would be the definitive version of all his games if he could lock them at 30 frames, where some games he was playing, he said, were forcing him to play at 60, which was unplayable to him. So he claims the PC has all these problems. He's running on a garbage laptop. So it makes sense why he would have these issues, because he's trying to force games to lock at 15 frames per second. And most games, like the minimum frame rate you can lock a game to is literally like 30. Like, it won't go below 15. And he tries to turn up the resolution to get that. And then he rage quits off PC saying, oh, I can't do this laptop thing. I could just use a tablet. Is the same dude that buys an iPhone at full price and takes the full amount out of, you know, he's an Apple fanboy. It makes sense, you know, like, he's bad buying decisions. It totally makes sense. You know, when a new iPhone comes out, this is his reaction. And he doesn't care if games go multiplat to PC. He just cares as long as the games run at 30 frames or have frame rate drops. Hell, this man said that his game of the year for this year, since his, I guess, definitive console is now the Switch, so he's rebuying games that he rebought on the Xbox One. He's now rebuying on the Nintendo Switch, like The Witcher, because they run and look worse. His favorite game, his game of the year this year is Deadly Premonition 2 on the Nintendo Switch. A slideshow game. Oh my god.
All time are like the 20 frames per second. Yeah. Yeah, yo, word on slide. My favorite games be at like 5 frames per second, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, like, literally 5 fucking frames, and I'm like, you know what I mean? I didn't even know what frame rate was until Sony didn't supply games.
What the fuck? So, he's into slideshow games, and he just damage controls on Twitter all the time. So, like, if you take Blackbond, where he's like, I can't play games unless they're like 60 or up. This guy can't play games unless they're 30 frames and lower. That's literally what he does. So it's pretty bad. Like this, like he was hyping up the PS5 because I guess it's the weaker next gen console, and PS5 will have games at 30. But then he'll rage quit any game that's announced for 60 frames. And he did not. He was ready to downplay all the Pokemon games, unless those are literally going to be, because he thought those were going to be 60. So any game that's 60, he will literally not touch. And if he does touch it, he's going to be like, it needs a 30 frames per second mode. It needs to run at 30 frames. That's the way to play it. Like, it's bad. That's why I call him the Omni console peasant, because he literally plays games at the worst possible frame rates. And he'll say like the stupidest shit like, oh, why would you play it on overpriced PC? That makes no sense. Why would you do that? That's so dumb. So he's definitely the Omni peasant. And then he's like, I'd rather pay more money for online, and it's like, oh, there's too many hackers on PC and I don't care about hackers on consoles. All the usual stuff that a console peasant says. I don't have to break that down. But yeah, this dude is by far the worst. So definitely hit up his Twitter. Hit up his gamer tags, IronCladRookie. Just had to expose this guy for being a fraud because he's been talking a lot of crap lately. So definitely shout out to IronCladRookie, the Omni console peasant.
How's it taste, motherfucker?